Hi everyone, this is Serena from Sun Moon Tarot 222. It's been a couple of weeks since I've come on to do a reading. I've been very busy and happily busy, so I am happy to be on to do a channeled message from the Divine Masculine. And so this is for for connections that are commonly characterized as twin flames, but these could also be any soul connection or divine partnership or whatever you call it, and to where you are dealing with a divine masculine and most likely are in separation or there's no communication. So this is just a quick check-in with what they are feeling about the connection and possibly what they're feeling about you, what they're thinking about the connection, what could be their challenge currently, what their intentions are, and potential actions that they might take, and then also some advice for you as well. And I'm going to pull some oracle cards at the end, so I just want to jump right in. So Spirit, what is the Divine Masculine currently feeling in his heart space about the connection or about the listener right now? So I'm just going to pull some Rider-Waite, and I'll clarify with the Mystic Moon Oracle cards as needed. So one card for what they are feeling currently, Spirit. We have the Queen of Wands. So you could be dealing with a fire sign, or you might be a fire sign, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. Regardless, your counterpart is seeing you or just has a feeling in their heart of passion and kind of this pleasant stirring, like these kind of mystical or magical feelings. That's what, like, regardless of what there's always, or not always, if you're watching this video, most likely, and you're in separation and there's no communication, then you can feel like there's conflict right now between you and your counterpart. But at the end of the day, deep down inside in their heart space, they are feeling very passionate and moved and perhaps creative, or that they want to somehow get to a place of creativity and exchange with you in that way. So can you clarify the Queen of Wands, Spirit? Please clarify the Queen of Wands. Why is the Queen of Wands here for heart space? We have bound. Okay, so yeah, there's this conflicting energy, and I did want to mention that although, just as I mentioned, although there is still something that is binding them deep down inside, they have this feeling of passion for you. That's beautiful. Let's pull one more Mystic Moon Oracle card. Why is bound here? The answer is yes. Okay. They want to say yes to you. They want to make things happen. They want to live in a more fluid and creative space with you. They want to have a type of connection that feels more free and liberated, but they are still bound, okay? And that's how they feel in their heart space. The energy is very thick, actually, that I'm feeling, and with the Queen of Wands, it's so positive, but there's this like duality that they're dealing with. At the end of the day, though, if you are feeling very good feelings coming from your counterpart, it could be this passion that you're feeling. So what are they thinking currently about the connection? What's in their headspace? More wands here. So we have the 10 of Wands, and this doesn't surprise me. So they're thinking, I mean, while, this energy here in the card is really struggling, they don't want, a 10 means completion. A 10 is, signifies being done, like being finished with this cycle of carrying this burden. And you are not a burden. The connection isn't a burden. It's this this duality here of wanting to move forward with something that you're not, that he, and I'm just saying he because that's easiest, but gender doesn't matter. It's the burden of having this conflict of interest, like needing to, like really in the depths of their soul, wanting to go in one direction, but not feeling like they're able to because they're bound for some reason. And we'll get into why they're bound, but let's clarify the 10 of Wands. So what is this 10 of Wands about, Spirit, for headspace, what the masculine is thinking? They're in a time of observation, and so this card comes out in different ways. For me, we have the question mark, which is in the middle of this person's face in the card, but then they're looking on the internet. So in some cases, this feels like a Page of Wands type of situation where they're observing you, but also at the same time, they are doing a self-exploration. They're observing they're observing their own sensations and their feelings that they're having, or their own thoughts, in order to figure out what is going on with them in their own life. So when it's clarifying the 10 of Wands, I see that it's still a bit of a stuck energy, because while they're done with being, they're fed up and done with carrying the burden of not being able to live their life the way that they want to live, they're having to take a step back in order to observe first and to kind of get a sense of the big picture and the overall direction in which they want to move in. We can't just, perhaps they've lived lives where they've acted on things too quickly, like that saying, haste makes waste. So if you just rush into connections, or you rush into relationships, or you rush into a job situation without really sussing out and observing and getting a sense of how you're feeling about that situation, then you could find yourself in a 10 of Wands or a 9 of Wands, like wounded warrior, like carrying the burden of and doing things that you don't want to do. And so they're not acting hastily, but they're still stuck. So why is this observer here? I just want to get one more card for this. We have awakening. They're awakening to something through this process. It's just like they're, and this is their headspace, right? So we know that our greatest difficulties bring, when we pay attention, when we tap in, when we start to observe, those difficulties can teach us so much about ourselves. And so this is really, it's along the lines of what I've been saying, that they're awake, like this process of observing is an awakening process, and it's very much in their headspace right now. They're very actively thinking about this, and nonetheless, there's just tons of passion that they feel, and that they, in their thoughts towards the connection and towards you. But let's look at their challenge right now. So what burden specifically are they carrying? Oh, I just peeked at the 4 of Wands and the Star card. That was beautiful. I love that. One card for their challenge. Spirit, what are they currently challenged with? Wow, we have another 10. We have 10 of Swords here. So they're really experiencing some really serious disappointment, and this isn't necessarily heartache, but their challenge is that they're really at the end of this. So we have 2 10s. They're really, they almost just can't take it anymore. They can't take and swords are for thoughts. So they're really beating themselves up about their situation. They know, and just intuitively speaking, they know that, I'm getting the sense, and there's no cards that indicate this, but it's almost like they put so much pressure on themselves to make the right decision and do the right things that when things don't work out, they really start to feel like perhaps they're running out of time, or they're like making the wrong decision and they're going in the wrong direction, and just feeling like they're going in the wrong direction in life, whether it be with a karmic or whether it be in, a very serious addiction situation, like, because we do have the bound card here, that they know, like, it's like they're their own worst enemy is the message that I'm hearing. They're their own worst enemy. Like they beat themselves up so much about this. So what are they beating themselves up about? What is this 10 of Swords about? Definitely completion, abandoned. So definitely feeling very, very strong feelings and defeat and sadness over either feeling abandoned or abandoning you. That's really, wow, that's really what's coming through. And like, this is a lot of sadness that's coming through. There's just tons of love that they have for you, and the fact that they can't bring themselves to make the connection happen or magically, wave their wand like the Queen of Wands, like they want to, because, male, female doesn't matter with the cards, with the court cards, but they feel abandoned, and it's nobody's fault is what I'm getting. It's just that's, being apart feels like abandonment. So what else, Spirit? What can you say about the lessons? Okay, so this is very positive. So, and I think, well, 10s are positive, and all these cards are positive because they're illuminating the things that they're shining light on the shadows, okay? And that's why I'm Sun, Moon, Tarot. So they're, this darkness is being illuminated through lessons. So just like what I was saying, it's this space of struggle and learning. Like you can't learn to this degree without making the mistakes first, like quote unquote mistakes, right? And they're really, really feeling this. Another card wanted to pop out, so let me see if something else pops out for this situation. Abandon and lessons. Interesting. We have the Divine Masculine card here. So this is Divine Masculine channeled reading. So they're saying, like, it is tough being a Divine Masculine, isn't it? Like, it's tough being a Divine Feminine. It is really, really tough being a Divine Masculine. It's really, really tough learning these lessons through this defeat and through these burdens that they have to carry and through the abandonment. And they're also recognizing, they're learning, like, that they, like, what the role of the masculine is. Even if they don't know what this, even though they don't, they may not know what this is called. Some Divine Masculines do know that they're a Divine Masculine. Maybe you've talked about it before. Maybe you've told them about the Twin Flame journey, but some don't. But some are just realizing their power. They're realizing their role. They're realizing that they have to step up and they have to get into their power. And it's not necessarily an easy process to do that. And it's not that they're making mistakes. It's not that they're, messing up, but they are hard on themselves. They're being really hard on themselves right now, and they feel like they're messing up. And but they're also learning at the same time that it's making them stronger. I mean, look at this Divine Masculine. I've always thought this Divine Masculine picture is like beautiful, and that Divine Masculine is just like so powerful and just so much in control of his life in the way that he wants to be, and not in a macho way, but in such a way that he can manifest his future. So that's really beautiful. That's a clear message from the Divine Masculine saying, I'm just trying to figure out like how to do this. I'm just trying to figure out how to get unstuck and to learn my lessons so I can be the best masculine that I can be. So what is his intentions for the connection? What does he really want at the end of the day? Wow. Okay. Interesting. So we have 5 of Wands here. Tons of passion. Just tons of passion. You know, what I'm getting from this card is that while this is a card that is 5s are for conflict, like these are really tough energies that he's going through. While this is a card of conflict, I'm also getting the sense like obviously he doesn't want to be in conflict with you. He doesn't want to be in conflict, but there's a sense of like needing he has something to say. He has something to get off of his chest and express to you. He doesn't want to come off like a jerk and like somebody who is whiny and fighting, but he really does have something to like a bone to pick almost, and not like in a mean way, but like almost in a defensive way. Like he feels like he needs to defend himself. Like perhaps you kind of came to him and you stuck up for yourself and you defended yourself and you told your piece, but he was for some reason unable to do that. He feels like, you know, when you're in 10 of Swords, when you're in 10 of Wands, like you're a little bit paralyzed. You're like not, you know, and that's why they ghost a lot of the time, that they don't say anything, because they actually just don't know what to say or how to say it, because they don't want to make things worse. But it doesn't mean that they don't have anything to say. It doesn't mean that they don't have a side or like they're not invested and they don't care to share with you what that is. It's just silence is the way that they cope and deal with things. So first of all, they don't get worse, and second of all, for survival, like he's just kind of quiet, like kind of sneaking through the woods trying to find his food, but like, you know, trying not to be seen, and so he's like attacked. I don't know where that came from, but why is 5 of Wands here for their intentions for the connection? We have big dreams. So he really wants you to know that things are really not what they seem right now. And he, you know, really recognizes that you're not in a good situation, and he's not in a good situation. But there's this, you know, always when I get this card, it's like sort of dim. There's the moon. There's this big, gigantic, like this is a big animal. Like this is a big whale that's submerged underwater. So there's so much under the surface that you can't see and that he's not totally aware of at the top of his mind either. But there's like this stirring, like the Queen of Wands. There's this stirring inside. There's this passion deep down inside, and that's what makes it difficult for him to not want to just like have these outbursts and these arguments, but he wants you to know that he's definitely dreaming about a better life for in a better time for the connection. Exactly. Yeah. Like so we have nostalgia here. A lot of his passions and his dreams are just very, very deep inside, and that like he's really struggling with that. He has internal conflict about that because it's conflicting with the outside. And divine masculines are very much concerned about the outside, and this whole twin flame journey, or whatever you want to call it, this spiritual awakening is getting the outside to match the inside. But if he's been going in a direction, and again, I don't know your exact situation, there's tons of different situations and tons of ways that the divine masculine binds themselves and keeps themselves from kind of having that matching of the outside and the inside. He's figuring it out, and it's conflicting. This is an internal conflict. He also could be really getting into conflict with people on the outside because maybe people are wanting him to do things that he doesn't want to do, so family members, and it's not like I'm forcing you to do this, but he's maybe been submissive to other people in his life for so long that people just kind of tell him what to do or boss him around, or like, he's always putting other people's needs first and not paying attention to his own needs. So this is like very conflicting for him, where he could be getting into conflicts about other people, like saying like, you know what, no, I'm not going to do that because it's not going in the direction of his heart. So what action will the divine masculine take this week, just this week? What is it, May 9th? So until next Monday, May 9th, what action might the divine masculine take? What action? Okay, we have the Six of Pentacles here. So there is this sense of fairness that he wants to have. He recognizes that whatever energy he puts out in his life, it's about giving and receiving. It's about giving and taking. It's about having a balance. And what is this? We have destruction. Interesting. We have cycles. So we saw 2 10s here, and that's the end of cycles. Destruction is like a tower moment. He's coming into a very, very deep awareness that his time is much more valuable. His energy and his resources are much more valuable than he ever considered them to be. And the destruction card is like he's realizing and kind of breaking down this false belief that he just has to give all the time, and he's just all like he's meant to do is give, and all that he's meant to do is serve others, and that his dreams or his desires don't really matter. And it's not that he's becoming selfish or that he's not wanting to serve or provide or like be in that sense of the masculine role. It's that he wants to make it count. He wants to give towards the things that he knows add value to his life. And there will be this like give and take, because this is the Six of Pentacles here. And with the destruction card, it just feels like that the cycle that is coming to an end is this false belief that he has to, beat himself into the ground, doing all of these things that he doesn't really want to do and going in this direction that he doesn't really want to go in. Ooh, okay. So what action is he going to take towards the listener, Spirit? But he's going to stay in his pride and ego. And he's going to continue to work on himself. This seems just like a very internal time. In fact, and I'll read the positivity in the cards when I see it, but with the bound card and the 10 of Wands, 10 of Swords, 5 of Wands, Pride and Ego, these aren't negative cards. It's just this, he is going through a reconstruction period where if something is being reconstructed, you're not going to want to go and hang out at that place, right? Like a building is like being, renovated. What do you have to do when, a building is being renovated? It has to close down. Nobody can go in there and enjoy their time there, right, at this establishment until it's done. And so, because there's debris flying everywhere, it's not finished, it's like you're going to get a splinter, like, sitting on the unfinished, chair, and like, so this is what's going on right now with the masculine. And so there's this, so the space and the silence is really there to protect you. He's not talking or not sharing because he's protecting you, because he's conflicted, because he's learning lessons, and he's going through such a major transformation that is taking so much time and energy, and it's confusing and it's conflicting that, no wonder he isn't coming towards you right now. And it doesn't mean that, that's a good thing. And that's like one of the biggest lessons on this journey, is to learn about these, learn how these times, and not like he's just so depressed and, having a miserable life right now, but deep down inside, he's doing some major, major work. And he might not even know that he's doing work. Like, he, maybe some journal and, do this type of like very intentional shadow work and know about dark night of the soul. And perhaps some of the divine masculines are doing that, but some don't really know what's going on. And so it could come really be diffused as like these very conflicting emotions. And as long as they're purging and recognizing that they are awakening and that this process is making them better, then that's the goal here. And I want to keep this just to 30 minutes. So I'm going to pull some advice for the listener. So advice for you while the masculine is going through this. And then some, the most important messages from the romance angels too. So what advice do you have for the listener? Embrace. Okay. Beautiful. Okay, so while this deconstruction is happening and this like kind of restructuring and this change is happening, remember that you're together. Remember that there is love in the connection still, and that really you are always in embrace, and you just may not be paying attention, you may not realize it, but it could come through your heart chakra, it could come through your sacral chakra or your root chakra, your solar plexus chakra, and like these very intense feelings that could be a sign to you that you are with your counterpart already in the 5D, and that It's just a matter of, trusting and believing. And we hear that a lot. And I know that it's tough. Like, believe me, there's been some really, really tough energies that I've been experiencing too lately, and know that it's not all me, but I'm going to read the description out of the book too, because this might give us a different spin on it, but that's just what I got just looking at the energy in this card. So embrace. A new opportunity is coming your way. To grasp it, you must love, accept, and embrace the many aspects of your personality. You can do this by listing all the things you like and don't like about yourself. Include the qualities you are proud of and those you try to hide, feel uncomfortable about, or are ashamed of. List everything, good or bad, that you think describes you. Look carefully at the list of things you don't like and identify the positives in every negative. Then go through the positive qualities and explore their limitations or negative components. With practice, you will come to realize there are no positives or negatives, as every quality you possess serves a valuable purpose. Accepting and loving all facets of you equally brings wholeness and balance. Through this, you are better able to see and grasp the opportunities life constantly presents. So the message here is to focus on yourself, because they're going through stuff right now too. So you have to do some work and reconstruction, and perhaps some deconstruction first, and reconstruction of what you may not like or like about yourself. And it's the same for them, and you're having to go through this process at the same time as they are, and you going through your process and figuring out your own life brings them along with you. So what's the most important messages for the listener regarding their counterpart and the situation? Ooh, wow. We have flirt and chemistry. So extend your lighthearted energy to others, and there's a strong magnetic attraction here. You don't have to doubt the attraction or the chemistry, and the chemistry card is like, that's why this connection is so difficult, because there's such a strong chemistry. This is why people don't understand, like people who aren't in these connections don't really understand these connections, because perhaps they don't understand how magnetic the attraction is. Like, it's like whatever you do, you can't not feel like this magnetic draw to each other. And so, if you think that you're crazy, which, I mean, sometimes, honestly, I still think that I'm crazy too sometimes. And I'm like, I never thought I would be doing, tarot readings and making a channel. Like, it's wild, like, to think back to a year ago when I was, like, miserable at my full-time job, and being taken advantage of by, so many people because I wasn't living in my truth. But anyways, people don't understand, and you might not even understand this, like, deep magnetic chemistry that you have, but it's there. It's designed this way. So, because you're a mirror souls, so you can work on yourself, and so you can figure out what it is that you don't like about yourself, right? And find that all of those are gifts, actually. And of course, we're going to feel bad about ourselves sometimes, but if you can turn it into a positive, like, that's really the work that we all have to start doing. Like, we all get into a low vibration, we all get into bad moods, and we just have to figure out how to do it. Like, honestly, the reason why I sat down here right now is because I didn't get very much sleep. I'm doing, like, this cleanse where I can't have caffeine, I can't have, like, gluten, grains, like you name it, I can't have it. Like all I can have is like legumes, beans, vegetables, and like liquid meals. Like it's insane. So I'm like, oh my gosh, I am going to like flip out. So I'm getting on here to do a reading because I wanted to turn this like energy that I have into something positive. So that's just an example. It's not about me though. These are your cards, but I'm going through this too, and that's why I come on here too. Is because I just want to share what I do and what I'm learning, so it could benefit all of you. So flirt and extend energy, your light-hearted energy to others. This is such an important message that can even feel a little bit triggering sometimes at some points in the journey because you only love your counterpart, and that's totally understandable. I mean, it's just how it is. But in the meantime, when they're going through 10 of Swords, 10 of Wands, 5 of Wands, so on and so forth, devil energy, all of that, you can't keep yourself, we can't keep ourselves like in a cage, right? So we have to get out there and we have to just go and flirt. Like there's no harm in flirting. It doesn't mean, doesn't mean you're going to like, be with them intimately or kiss them. You don't have to do that, but just get out there and, invite some lighthearted energy into your life and also extend that. And it goes both ways. Once you put it out, it comes back. And so I have to remember that too. I'm a Gemini. I'm very social. So it's like not, I love being alone. I don't know what that is. I don't know where that came from. I think it's like, a Scorpio moon, Libra moon, depending on what astrology you're looking at. But yeah, like it's, once you just get out there, things can really change and turn around for the better. So just try it out. Okay, I love you so much. Thank you so much for listening. Have a great day. Bye.